Hi everyone, bonjour à tous. My name is Tara Eisen, I'm a writer, and my new book is called At the Hour Between Dog and Wolf. It's the story of a young Jewish girl living in hiding as a Catholic orphan in World War II Vichy France. By the end of the war, she has become lost in this new identity and become transformed into a completely different person. So today I want to talk about the Rosary and its significance to my character and to the novel. At the start, Danielle, our young Jewish girl, has about what was my own knowledge of the Rosary before I began researching and writing the book. I knew that it's some kind of Catholic prayer beads and that nuns and priests wore them. And yeah, that was about it. So the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops tells us, the Rosary is a scripture-based prayer. It begins with the Apostles' Creed, which summarizes the great mysteries of the Catholic faith. The Our Father, which introduces each mystery, is from the Gospels. The first part of the Hail Mary is the angel's words, announcing Christ's birth and Elizabeth's greeting to Mary. St. Pius V officially added the second part of the Hail Mary. So the Rosary itself is that string of beads or knots, and it's used to count the component prayers and to sort of keep track where you are along this series of prayers. So early in the novel, Danielle, who has been left by her mother out in the country with a Catholic farming family, is being drilled in the Catholic prayers she will need to know in order to pass as a little Catholic orphan. And her fake aunt, Berthe, who's already calling her Marie-Jeanne, is teaching her the Hail Mary. And Berthe says, "Every time you say the Hail Mary, dear, you're handing a beautiful rose to our Blessed Mother. Her love and mercy are always with it. Our prayers will be such a comfort to you, Marie, when you open your heart that way." And Danielle is like, yeah, I get it, you told me. All of this is a joke to her. None of the Catholic ritual or liturgy mean anything to her. It's just this game of pretend that she has to play. But as the story moves on, Danielle puts more effort into this pretending. And there's a moment when her fake cousin, Luke, is ill, and Berthe is very upset, and Danielle offers to pray the Rosary with Berthe to try to offer her some comfort. One day, Danielle impulsively got down on her knees with Berthe in front of the picture of the Virgin Mary. Berthe had moved downstairs, so their mother could be with all of them every moment of every day. She placed her arms gently, hesitantly around Berthe, and Berthe had stopped in mid-Hail Mary, startled, then rested her big head on Danielle's shoulder as if it were suddenly too heavy for her to lift, until Danielle chimed in with the prayer, prompting, "Blessed art thou among women." Why not, if it makes Berthe feel better? So she and Berthe prayed together, side by side, their voices rising and falling, reciting the Our Fathers and the Hail Marys and the Glory Bees, their fingers counting out the decades on Berthe's rosary, and it felt lulling and peaceful to be there like that together. She looked at the portrait of Mary gazing down on them, golden and blue, her gentle smile warming them, blessing them, listening. Maybe. After all, Jesus was a real person, even if he wasn't the Son of God. And so Mary was a real mother, wasn't she? And if she were only a regular mother, not the mother of God or Queen of Heaven, does that really matter when there's this sweet warmth in the room? So slowly the Virgin Mary, and to some extent Berthe, begins to take the place in Danielle's heart of her own vanished mother. And she begins to actually find comfort in the praying of the Rosary and other Catholic rituals of faith. By the time Danielle has to go through the ritual of confirmation a few years later, she's done what Berthe had always hoped she would, which means she had really opened her heart to the presence of Mary in her life. As a confirmation gift, Berthe gives now Marie-Jeanne her own mother's precious rosary, and Marie-Jeanne writes about it in a school assignment. "My tante Berthe is making me a new white dress for my confirmation, and also promises she'll give me my dear Grandmère Bernadette's rosary to keep for my very own. It is delicate and beautiful, made of the tiniest dried rosebuds. Tante Berthe keeps it in a trunk with all of her most treasured things, and I've promised I will treasure it and be careful with it always." But toward the end of the story, Marie-Jeanne's Catholic devotion is tested, and at a crucial moment, she begins to question it. She grabs her rosary, fumbling for the first bead, the tiny dry rose, presses it to her mumbling lips. Hail Mary, yes, give your sweet, always there, Blessed Mother a rose. So she'll look upon you with love, help you, but maybe it's just a handful of dried old rosebuds on a string. She grips them tighter, feels a dusty crumble in her fist. No, there's no rose there, just a handful of brownish dust, flakes of dead flower. So in the novel, I use these repeated references to the Rosary as markers along Danielle's path of transformation. And I found it a really concrete and specific way to track Danielle's evolving relationship to Catholicism. I found this little rosary in a shop in France, an antique shop in France, many, many years ago. I don't know how old it is, but it feels really old to me. And I like to think it's maybe similar to the rosary Danielle might have treasured. As part of my research, I actually prayed the rosary in its entirety. And as the U.S. Catholic bishops say, the repetition in the rosary is meant to lead one into restful and contemplative prayer related to each mystery. The gentle repetition of the words helps us to enter into the silence of our hearts where God's Spirit dwells. And it did help me to understand Danielle's experience better, at least the meditative power of such a ritual. So thank you for checking in, and I hope if you get a chance to read the book that you enjoy it. Thanks.